That down? Let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Well, as we were just discussing, Thunderbolts is now out, and it's every bit as good as I was kind of hoping it would be, even better than I was kind of thinking it would be. But it does raise the question. In this era, which we were talking about recently, that I've been kind of underwhelmed with the MCU a bit since Endgame, but with all the projects, by the way, Thunderbolts, think about this. Want to feel a little bit old? Since Endgame, this is the 14th Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that's come out since Endgame.
I mean,
that threw me off when I realized.
Personally attacked by the events of New York happened when I was in high school. And I was like, oh, shut up. How dare you?
To be followed up by, I was 90.
Yeah.
So
That's how I felt, Bucky.
I thought, somebody wrote to me on Friday and asked, hey, where would you put Thunderbolts in this, new group of films? Where does it rank for you in there? So I thought it'd be fun for us to take a couple of minutes and look back at where has the MCU been since Endgame? And to put that in perspective, where would we take this movie that we really liked and fit it in there? So that's what we're going to do is I'm going to count down for you the definitive, at least from my point of view, list of the worst to best rankings of the 14 MCU movies that have come out since Endgame. We're going to start all the way down at the bottom. My number 14 worst film that the MCU has put out since Endgame has got to be Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This was a movie I was so excited about because I love Ant-Man. I really like the first two movies, particularly the first one. Yeah, Jonathan Majors going to be Big Kang, and what an utter disappointment that film was. So my worst one, number 14, is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. At number 13, not a total disaster of a movie, but one I felt very unsatisfied with, which was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Now, listen, understandably though, you got to give him a bit of a pass, especially Ryan Coogler on that, because this film was made under an impossible set of circumstances. Absolutely. I don't know anybody that could have stepped in and done a better job, but the end result was still the end result. I thought it was a pretty underwhelming movie and a big step down from the original Black Panther, which was magnificent. At number 12, Captain America: Brave New World. It had some things going for it. It did. But overall, I mean, they couldn't even, listen, I love the Sam Wilson character. They couldn't even give him his own movie. They had to make his movie a Hulk sequel. They didn't even give him his own movie. It was a poorly written, poorly executed. Anthony Mackie deserved better. And so I've got Captain America: Brave New World down at number 12. At number 11, Black Widow. Just a movie. Now, some big highlights. Again, David Harbour is Red Guardian. We did get introduced to Yelena in it. There were some good things about it, but overall, a pretty underwhelming movie that, quite frankly, sometimes I even forget existed. At number 10, Thor: Love and Thunder. A movie that took all the great things about Thor Ragnarok and took the wrong lessons from it. Whereas Thor Ragnarok had a perfect symmetry and balance between the hilarious and ridiculous and the serious and heavy, Thor: Love and Thunder just swung the pendulum way too far to the silly side. Hey, listen, I'm not going to lie. There are still parts in it that I laughed my ass off. There absolutely are some moments that did that, but overall, it took the great balance of Ragnarok and completely unbalanced it. So I'm going to say at number 10 is Thor: Love and Thunder. At number 9, The Marvels. It was a tall order. I mean, this felt more like it should have been a Netflix series, not a Netflix series, a Disney Plus series, to be honest with you. But also trying to get a couple of characters that would only be known if people watch Disney Plus, and a lot of moviegoers don't, and trying to bring them in here. It just felt unbalanced. Again, I thought it wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. That's why I have it at number 9. I didn't think it was all that bad, but there's also nothing remarkable about it. You know what I mean? There was nothing that stood out that made me feel like I'm going to want to watch this a few more times like I did with Thunderbolts. So at number 9, I've got The Marvels. At number 8, I got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Once we get to 8, we're getting those things where these are some movies that really do have some big positive upsides. And again, I think the first half hour of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was banger. Like everything that happens right to the moment that he meets America Chavez and all the kind of stuff, and the stuff with Wanda, the best story arc, I think, other than Tony Stark in all the MCU is Wanda's story arc. Some really good things. mixed in with a lot of missed opportunities and things like that. So it kind of evened itself out. I still like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but I got it down at number 8. At number 7, Spider-Man Far From Home. I like this movie. I did think it was a noticeable step down from Spider-Man Homecoming, which I thought had more charm and stuff like that. I thought, Jake Gyllenhaal was a little bit of a missed opportunity as Mysterio, but still overall, it was another win for John Watts directing the Spider-Man films. I enjoyed it, so I've got it up at number 7. At number 6, a film I really think is underrated in the MCU, The Eternals. Again, I don't think Eternals is top-notch MCU. I don't. But I think this movie is better than it gets credit for, and I think it deserved to do more. The more I watch it, the more I appreciate it. It's a very, very different kind of MCU film, and I could see the reason some other people didn't like it, and that's fine. But for me, and all the Marvel films that have come out since Endgame, I've got Eternals as number 6. At number 5, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's a tall order to follow up Homecoming and Far From Home, both good films, both very successful films, and to do another Spider-Man film, and they crushed it. They just did a great job with it. It was a fan favorite, one of the highest grossing movies in history. It made ridiculous amounts of money, one of the highest grossing Marvel Cinematic films. Spider-Man No Way Home is number 5 for me. All right, at number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Somehow, some way, James Gunn found a way to land it, and land it so well. Not only making a great movie standing on its own, but emotionally paying off a lot of stuff going all the way back to the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And in the midst of, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 really stood in the midst of an era of Marvel mediocrity. It was one of those things that really came out and shone very brightly. I love this film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is at my number 4 spot. At number 3, this is where I'm going to put it. Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, listen, I watched it a second time. I mean, I would really put it very much on par with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for me. But since I have to order them, I'll just ever so slightly put it ahead. When I was originally thinking about this before I watched Thunderbolts for a second time, I had it just behind Guardians. Now I've got it just ahead. Either way, I've got them on the same level as each other. I love this movie. Again, not the absolute top level of MCU greatness that we've had, but I think a really worthy entry into it. So I've got Thunderbolts at number 3. At number 2, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I still remember being at the first screening of this movie. This was one of the only films where I got to see it 4 times before it opened in theaters. I got to see this movie 4 different times before it opened in theaters. And I still remember the first time I watched it. I was sitting beside Greg Alba, actually. Me and Greg were sitting together, and the movie ended, and I immediately, after the credits rolled and everything, I immediately jumped out of my seat, and like Greg had a big smile on his face. I'm like, how fucking good was that? Like, I just couldn't believe it. I love this movie passionately. I think it's an amazing film. Fun, exciting, charming, all that kind of stuff. I loved it, and it's got Wenwu in it, which is one of the best villains they've had in a long time. So for me, the number 2 best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie since Endgame is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And that leaves it to me for number 1. For me, number 1 is Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, to me, movies are experiential events. And I was just bouncing when I came out of Deadpool and Wolverine. I had such a great time watching it that Ann and I went back to watch it 6 or 7 times. And every time I laughed just as hard. I was just as entertained. I mean, it was weaker than some other Marvel movies in different aspects, but stronger in others. But the overall entertainment package for me made Deadpool and Wolverine my number 1. So again, just quickly, my number 14 down at the bottom was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Next, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Captain America: Brave New World. Black Widow. At number 10, Thor: Love and Thunder. At number 9, The Marvels. At number 8, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. At number 7, Spider-Man: Far From Home. At number 6, Eternals. At number 5, Spider-Man: No Way Home. At number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. At number 3, the newest installment, Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers, whatever you want to call them. That's on their poster now. At number 2, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And my number 1 since Endgame is Deadpool and Wolverine. So there you go. That's my list. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Stitch Fix. Guys, you know I love movies, but you also know I have absolutely no fashion sense, and I absolutely hate shopping for my clothes. But thankfully, I have found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. With Stitch Fix, I get a stylist who understands my style, size, and budget, and they do all the shopping for me. Because look, shopping and figuring out style can be overwhelming, especially for somebody like me. When it comes to getting dressed, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. That's why I love having a Stitch Fix stylist. They really know what works for me. I get pieces that make me look great, and it's a real confidence boost. You just give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences. You get to order boxes when you want and how you want, no subscription required. They send you personalized pieces, and the fit is always on point. No stores, no crowds, no stress. Just personalized looks that you will love. So guys, make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Campea. That's stitchfix.com/Campea. Chris, how would yours look? Similar, different than mine? How would you look at these 14 films since Endgame?
A little different. So at the very end, same thing. The one that I like the least is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Not a big fan of that. That is my 14. It's just too volume. It's too meaningless, ultimately.
Yeah.
It's not a fun time. Right. And that's just my opinion, because you guys also know I'm not a big fan of ranking things because everything's so subjective that I'm always like,
It's true.
This is not how my brain works.
And you could rank something completely differently next week.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
100%. Mood comes in. How angry am I? Then I would go Thor: Love and Thunder. I was not a big fan of that. I love the Gore character. And this is something Jonathan and I talked about a lot, is I had such crazy expectations for what Gore was going to be like. So that was me letting myself down a little bit, but also.
But he was also underutilized.
That movie let me down a lot.
Yeah, way
too.
underutilized. Yeah.
And when you have, I mean, come on, with that level of talent too, give me something juicy there. Then for me, probably Captain America: Brave New World. Again, I don't think this is necessarily a bad movie. It's just, it could have been a much better one. There were much more interesting threads to pull than trying to circle back to the Hulk. Then Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Black Widow, The Marvels, which I don't think is as bad as most people say it is.
I agree. I don't think it's a great
fun.
film, but I think it's better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, I had a fun time, and it's campy superhero fodder that I enjoy very much. Then The Eternals, which again, I don't think is as bad as people say it is. I think it asks a lot of interesting moral questions and lives in a really fun, gray, ambiguous space that I think we are so used to the dichotomy of good and evil that it was really great to have something that explored that. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness next. Deadpool and Wolverine, even though it's really fun, it's also fairly inconsequential. I had a good time, but it wasn't telling me greater things for the most part. Then I would go with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. My number 4 would be Thunderbolts. 3 and 2 are going to be my Spider-Man movies because I'm a Spider-Man girly. Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Far From Home I think is more enjoyable. And then my number 1 is still Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That movie destroys me. It is beautiful. It is heartbreaking. It is such a wonderful conclusion to that trilogy. I think that is a pretty much perfect film.
It's a great movie. So good. Anyway, Rob, how would you rank everything we've gotten since Endgame?
Well, mine's a little different. At number 14, Thor: Love and Thunder, a movie I hated from the opening scene where Gore the God Butcher is talking to his own god. I'm like, this movie has nothing to say to me. I thought it was a goof from the very beginning, and what a waste. Christian Bale's acting the hell out of a scene, and it looked like a Saturday Night Live sketch. Hated it. Number 13, I'll only give it, this would have been number 14, but I hated Love and Thunder so much it's 13. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I thought destroyed Ant-Man. It destroyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It destroyed Kang. There was nothing about this movie I liked. I thought it was the completely wrong tone. Drove me insane to watch it. The Marvels coming in at number 12. I wanted more from it. I didn't get what I wanted. It's not a bad movie. I like Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. I like all the actresses in the film. I just thought they were kind of in a story that they deserved better. I mean, I like Flurkins, but whatever. Let's see, what do I have at number 11? It's Captain America: Brave New World. Again, a movie that I thought was just lackluster. And it could have been great. It was disappointing what we didn't get. Number 10 is a movie I like more than this ranking probably says. But again, Wakanda Forever. Number 10 for me. I liked Wakanda Forever. But I just think it was handicapped by the tragedy of what we're watching, and I don't think the movie overcame that. But what was there was really interesting. I was completely enthralled by the world building and what we were given. I just wanted more from it. If that makes any sense at all. Number 9, Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, I wanted it to be Days of Future Past meets Deadpool. And I wanted more gravitas. I had fun watching it. It was a romp. I laughed my ass off. I loved seeing all the characters, but I wanted more out of it. I wanted, everything was a goof. And I kept waiting for... I thought that the first Deadpool was such a beautiful concoction of superhero pathos, comedy, and actual heart. It was a perfectly balanced movie that I wanted to see more of in Deadpool and Wolverine, but didn't. Number 8 for me was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like you pointed out, great first act. I liked a lot of what was there, but then they did things that that drove me crazy. Like you've got the Illuminati or whatever, and then she just comes and kills them all in 5 minutes. And I'm like, you can't do that if you want to have gravitas. You've got to give me something more than just make it a throwaway scene. But there's a lot to like in it. Sam Raimi's direction I thought was pretty great. Now I have to keep looking down. Thunderbolts for me, put it right in the middle, number 7. It's the beginning of the top half of the and I only say that because I really liked the movie. I thought, like I said, I wanted more of the universe out of it, but still, I think it's a great movie. I really, really liked it. And Black Widow, I think they have to go together for me. As a matter of fact, I probably should put Black Widow at number 7 and Thunderbolts at number 6 because I see Thunderbolts is absolutely a Black Widow sequel. And I think it made Black Widow better in almost every regard because the relationship between Yelena and Natasha looms large in that movie. And I think I can't wait to watch them back to back and see what it's like when I own it, if that makes any sense. And number 5, what do I have at number 5 here? I have to look at my list. Is Spider-Man Far From Home, which is the last movie of Phase 3. I liked it. I liked Jake Gyllenhaal, but like you, it was good. I liked it. It fit in with the universe. I like seeing people. It was, even though I would like more hard-hitting elements of it, but coming back from the snap, how are they responding to it? I liked all of that. Number 4, I have it at Eternals. You and I, we've talked about this, Chris. I love Eternals. I don't know if it's a great See, I've said I want more universe. I like this movie despite the lack of universe in it. I like it as a science fiction film. I think it's really interesting to me. I really liked all the characters. I liked the idea of seeing the Celestials depicted. It was really interesting to me. I just didn't like the deviants. I thought it was kind of lame and small-minded because it didn't connect to the larger MCU.
But it was the first appearance of Blade.
I know, right?
And the only appearance of Blade. It wasn't even an appearance. It was just his voice.
Totally. Number 3 is Shang-Chi, a movie that we both love. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I'm going to say Spider-Man No Way Home as number 1 only because I can't believe that movie exists. And it's as entertaining as it is. I thought that was such a monstrously huge swing, and it was an epic win, and I honestly can't believe it existed. Whether it's great or not, I don't know. But in terms of what Phase 4, 5, and 6 were supposed to do, I think obviously Spider-Man No Way Home succeeded. Talk about making a multiverse movie. Nothing said multiverse more than actually making a multiverse Spider-Man movie with Spider-Man from other people's Spider-Man franchises. I thought that was what the multiverse did well. They never quite got that. They didn't do it as well in Doctor Strange, and they didn't do it as well in Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought that No Way Home was the gold standard of what they were doing with the multiverse.
All right, guys. So we got Deadpool and Wolverine. We've got Guardians 3. We've got Spider-Man No Way Home as our tops. All of us have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania either at the bottom or in the second last spot. And then a lot of mixture in between. Guys, question is for you. In the 14, and I know it's weird to think about that, but since Endgame, we've now had 14 MCU films. How would you rank them? And where would you put the newest one, Thunderbolts, in and amongst that list? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.